What is good, Battlefielders? This is Kuzu Ranger.
And ForeverAzrael, bringing you episode 3 of our series we call Contingency Plan. Today we've got special coverage of the new Tank Superiority game mode from the Armored Kill DLC.
On consoles, 2 teams of 12 players fight for control of a central flag with the usual ticket bleeding system. Each map includes a mix of up to 16 tanks, including the new Tank Destroyer.
This is definitely one of those modes that focuses on team play if you want to survive and get the win. You won't get far going lone wolf all the time.
And just like in TDM, spawns are incredibly fast, putting you right back into action, so you're gonna have to rely on your solo skills too.
Alrighty then, how about we get this thing started? So put your kettle on the stove, get your metal tea bags ready, and enjoy the show.
Ooh, Tank Superiority. Are you guys ready for this? You better be. But without a cooperative squad or friends to party up with, some players will have no choice but to go at it alone. And that could definitely be a huge disadvantage, so I've got some tips that should help you out overall. A lot of this advice may be common knowledge, but there are still plenty of players who could use a review of the basics. So let's do this. Spec review. Gonna start off by assuming you've unlocked everything by now, or you're attempting to get everything. So we need to think about the best tank specs. I can't tell you there's one definitive best loadout, but here are some solid choices for an all-purpose one. In the activation slot, you'd be best to go with IR smoke, since there will be so many tanks with guided shells and engineers with javelins locking onto you for the kill. Even though I've been using thermal ops most of my time in tanks as a defensive precaution for urban maps, the IR smoke is really a no-brainer for this mode, focusing so heavily on tank battles. In the weapon slot, there's really only one choice: guided shells. If you want to destroy other tanks, you need these lock-on rockets to finish the job. Alternate firing between your main cannon, lock on and fire the guided shell, then repeat. It may be worth it though for one tank in your team to switch to LMG or canister shell to deal with the dangerous infantry. The upgrade slot is the most debatable. Autoloader allows you to take more shots in a short amount of time, which is more suited to solo aggressive attacking players. If you constantly stay mobile, putting more shots on target may net you with more kills. On the other hand, reactive armor is a great defensive spec, allowing your tank to take a direct hit with no damage. But since the armor needs to be repaired, it's best suited for tanks with support crews, not a lone wolf on the run. If you haven't quite ranked up high enough, I'll put the upgrade unlocks in the description below so you can take a look. Class review. Tank Superiority is a mode similar in a way to Conquest, since they both focus on vehicles, where the game type basically determines the exact class you should pick. If you want to play most effectively, whether you're playing solo or with an organized team, here's some tips for the best classes to use. Each team should have around 7 to 8 engineers, 2 to 3 recon, and a couple support players. When you think about it, the logic is pretty simple. There's 16 tanks in this mode, and engineers are the only class who can both directly repair and attack tanks with their unique gadgets and weapons. Engineers are king. Now, if used correctly, those recon that everyone loves to hate may be one of the most beneficial classes for one specific reason: Special Operations Forces Laser Marker, better known as the SOFLAM. With a few of these puppies in key locations, your team will be locking onto the enemy tanks with no problem at all. Lastly, there's always need for a couple of support who come in handy to replenish your rockets and ammo, and for some sneaky C4 demolition when you can get in close. Despite their all-purpose benefit in most other modes, Assault class should really be used sparingly, if at all, for this mode. Basic strats. As for some of the basic strategy that you can employ, remember when you're playing solo to take the same cautious approach you would as infantry. Lay back, don't go rushing guns blazing straight at reinforced enemy positions. And while it's easier said than done, do your best to stay out of the open, especially in wide open fields with absolutely no cover. As Robert Frost would say, take the path less traveled. Take the side routes, try to flank, try to engage unsuspecting stragglers so you have the total advantage. Also, be aware of your surroundings. You have no one to spot or warn you of dangers, so you've got to watch out for yourself. Learn how to move your tank in one direction and swivel and look in the other. Control of your tank is absolutely essential. There is no better mode than this to practice your handling abilities, since so many takes are available. But I'd have to say the biggest key to your survival is being mobile. Play hit and run strategy. Take shots, keep moving, but never stop and engage more than one tank at a time. If you have no backup, no repairman, no spotter, no help, You have to pick your battles. There are times to fight and times to run away as well. Overall, Tank Superiority is a pretty unforgiving mode in the same way TDM can be. Spawns are so quick so you always have a chance to get back in the fight, but if you're going solo you may not always want to jump in your tank and die again. We all love blowing shit up, so it's tempting to just want to chase and shoot the first tank you see, and that can be fun of course. Just try to use some caution when doing this. Always find some backup if you can, otherwise try to exercise some patience and play it cool. Now I personally love tanks, though I'm not a big fan overall of the dominating power vehicles play in Battlefield 3. This mode feels different to me though. There are no choppers and no jets to come in swooping down and tear through your armor in a split second. It's pure tank on tank action. So if you know how to handle your tank, and you can put some serious hurt in the enemy. That is not to say this is tank TDM where everyone kills and everyone dies. As my buddy ForeverAzrael is about to explain, team play has an enormous impact on your results. I was actually hoping though that each tank would only be able to hold one driver, so everyone would be forced to play solo. Then the focus would be on better tank tactics, not just who has a better support crew. Obviously guys playing with repairmen and spotters and guys who jump out with javelins and use the CITV Station will have a huge advantage over a solo tank guy playing lone wolf. Still a great mode, but you do have to rely on your team if you want to get the win.
Alright, so as Kuzu mentioned previously, I will be going over the more team-based aspects when it comes to this game mode of Tank Superiority. However, these tips I'm about to discuss may come in handy, or probably will come in handy for other game modes as well, so just bear that in mind. Now, I just want to reiterate the point that these tips may be common knowledge to a lot of players out on the battlefield already, but there are still a lot of inexperienced players out there who just need a helping hand, a push in the right direction, and hopefully by us giving you this video, people will improve their game and be able to learn how to adapt to the situation correctly, analyse the situation, and furthermore improve themselves as a battlefield player. So let's get right to this. Squad play. Everybody knows good squads are key to victory when it comes to the game of Battlefield. One good squad can easily overturn the deficit of a game and ultimately get you the victory. And what you want to try and do is play with people you are familiar with, play with friends or other players that you have known for a little while, you've played with on several occasions. They know your game, you know their game. You all know each other's play styles, what you're good at, what you're bad at, and it complements each other. But what you want to try and do, guys, is get a full squad. That's right, play with 4 players all the time. If you just happen to be with one other friend, so that's 2 of you, and you happen to notice that there is another squad of blue guys, who, you know, that squad is just also full of 2 players, join their squad, hit that menu button, go down to the squads, join that squad that they're in, and you never know, they might be on comms as well, they might be on the headset. Their specializations may be different to what you're using in your squad, so hop in the game and utilise the other players that you have around you. You know, you don't always want to be having the same perks. It's a no-brainer. There is no point of having 2 guys in your squad with the same squad specializations, such as both having ammo. It does nothing, it's completely useless, and it's a detrimental effect to your squad overall. You want to spread out your squad perks, use different perks, but useful perks to the team and the situation. Another point that I want to try and do for squad play is get a full tank crew or tank destroyer crew. You know, having a full crew is essential to winning this game mode. You know, that means you've got people who are constantly spotting for you if you're the driver. You know, people are going to constantly repair your tank. People are going to be using that CITV Station to spot enemy tanks for you, to designate them, so you can use your guided shell. And your gunner is going to be able to take out that infantry and support you if you are the tank driver, and vice versa. Another good thing for squad play, what you want to do, basic common sense like I've said guys, is use your headset, use your mic, use TeamSpeak, use whatever method you can to communicate with your squad. You know, it's always fun playing with squads that are very good and effective at communicating with each other. You know, it's a basic tip, but still a lot of players tend to forget this. A lot of times you'll hop into a squad, you know, by yourself say on a random evening, and the other 3 players will not have a mic. You know, they'll not be calling out spots for you, they'll not be telling you where the enemy is, they'll not be saying, oh hold up, I'll repair your tank for you or whatever. And it sort of makes your game more frustrating, so to speak. So now we'll move on to the next point. Tank packs. This is a no-brainer as well guys, it's strength in numbers in layman's terms. More attackers means that you have a better chance of pushing forward and dominating the enemy. What you want to do, straight off the bat, is rush the attack. You know, don't let the enemy get to the flag before you, don't let them get to that objective before you. If you pushing forward and dominating the enemy, you know, straight away you'll have them on the back foot. and because of this they'll be at a disadvantage straight away. Now the flip side of this coin is safety in numbers. The more tanks that you have in your pack, basically the more shields of protection that you have. You know, if your tank to the right and left are taking enemy fire, you're nicely snug in the middle. You know, you can still pick off enemies but still be under the protection of your other teammates. You know, a tank shell isn't going to penetrate your friend's tank and come all the way through and hit your tank. Being in a pack is very essential when it comes to this game mode. But you know, if things get a little bit too hectic, you can simply just run away from the pack in dire situations. Now I just want to reiterate this point again, guys. Attack with speed. Brute force will overrun the enemy. You know, go at them all guns blazing with shells in their face before they can even react. You know, like I said, if you've got the enemy on the back foot straight away, they will be at a disadvantage, will not know what to do, they won't be able to react to the situation anywhere near as quickly as what you and your teammates will be, and you will ultimately have the upper hand in this game mode and hopefully ultimately get the win. Now just a quick metaphor for you guys. Just like in the wild, a wolf pack is the worst threat to a lone wolf in the wrong territory. Now bear that in mind. Circle around enemy stragglers and exterminate them quickly, then move on. Finally, PDFOing and getting the win. Treat this mode like any other in the game. You don't win by randomly running around like a headless chicken. You have to consider your objectives, your threats, being able to play smart and adapting to the situation. Only good things can come from this, guys. Now everyone knows that teamwork gets you the win, period. There's no greater threat on the battlefield than having a competent squad, so what you've got to do is know your role, play it effectively, give that objective 110% at all times, and always PDFO. Now just like in Squad Rush, another good tactic what you want to try and do is push the flag, push that objective as soon as the game starts. Try and cap it as quickly as possible and catch your enemy off guard. Support your capping tank teammates by engaging and distracting the enemy who are probably attacking your capping comrades. Now after capping the flag, what you want to try and do is push up into the enemy territory to confront the enemy before they reach the objective, similar to an aggressive defense in Rush or Squad Rush. Now my overall impression of this game mode, guys, is it is absolutely fantastic. If you are a tank guy, a vehicle lover like me, you will strive, you will love this game mode. It is, you know, brings a whole new dynamic, a whole new level to the Battlefield series, which I think, you know, we all needed. We've had good DLCs in the past. Back to Karkan was good. Close Quarters for me personally, I loved it, but the community was a little bit split. A bit controversial with that map pack. Some said it was too light COD, others just hated it for reasons unbeknown to me. But this brings a whole new dynamic to the Battlefield series, a much needed, refreshing, new outlook of the game. Like I said, guys, because of that, I can only recommend this DLC with the highest of regards, so if you haven't got it already, I can only urge you to purchase it in the near future if you're not a premium member. Alright, that's it for this episode of Contingency Plan. We hope you've seen how fun and chaotic Tank Superiority can be.
Just be prepared to get locked on, shelled and pummeled with rockets in this non-stop tank-on-tank battle royale.
Remember, you'll need both a solo-minded and team-minded approach if you want to survive.
And in order for our tiny channels to survive, don't forget to like, sub, share, favorite and comment. We really do appreciate it.
Stay tuned for next episode when we cover more from Armored Kill. Thanks for watching, guys and girls.
This has been Kuzu Ranger
and ForeverAzrael.
Peace.